ambient music. And right now we're just gonna, I guess, talk about Erica's art process.
Is this the right Twitch?
Yes, that is.
Okay.
She's just tweeting it out. Good coverage. But yeah, so if you guys don't remember, of course, Erica's kind of the artist visionary behind the Shrouded Isle.
Visionary.
Yeah, so I guess do you want to just talk about your artist process, like how you kind of thought up of the art style for the Shrouded Isle, because it's kind of different. It's definitely unique.
It is, and I've had a lot of people, I guess, wrongly is maybe the wrong way to word it, but I've had a lot of people who are like, oh, what's this like Game Boy inspired aesthetic because of the hues that it has, which
Is it really Game? No.
Well, so because a lot of people look at it and they see green,
Right.
and they're like, oh, it's the green and blue thing, like old Game Boy screens. And it's like actually there's no green whatsoever. It's just because it's yellow and blue, so they mix together, and then you think it's green. So like yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, this is like a cool like retro throwback to like old computers or something. Like that has nothing to do with it.
Nope. Nope.
It's cool that people see it like that, I guess. But no, it was actually like when we were working on the so before we started the game jam, we hadn't even started like brainstorming on the game at that point. Chomu and I were going out for like dinner, or we were getting dinner before, and I was just like thinking internally in my head, it was like, the one mistake that we do every time with game jams is that we put so much effort into just like the production values of it and have it look so nice that by the time the end of the game jam shows up, we haven't actually finished the game. It's like it's still missing like an end basically.
Right.
Or like it's still missing like a whole bunch of assets because we've like spent so much time like polishing up what we started doing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, that's stupid, I don't want to make that same mistake again, so I'm just going to focus on being able to do as much art as possible.
Right.
I was like, well, what's the easiest way to do that? I was like, I'm just going to use 2 colors. Only 2 colors, because then I can do it super sketchy, and I'm just going to like crap stuff out really quickly. And like, I think like a week before the game jam, I had done like some painting that I really liked that used those blue and yellow colors. So just very cheaply, I was just like, well, I'm gonna open that painting, grab those 2 colors, and then just use that. I don't know, it'll work. And then we started brainstorming like ideas for the game, and like just like as we kept throwing ideas out, it like very naturally became this like, oh, we're going to make a game where you control like a bunch of cult members or like cult families that operate this like hidden cult on a like secret island or something. So like I guess I was also like super into Bloodborne as we were playing. So like just all of those ideas mixing into my head was like, all right, well, I think I know what like direction I want to push this like art style kind of.
Right.
But obviously I didn't want like super crib on like, you know, like Bloodborne's like Lovecraftian mistakes or anything. So it's like kind of, it's inspired from that, I guess, but also I wanted to keep it more like kind of like folksy and normal looking, because Bloodborne is like so pushed so far into that, where it's like there's not enough spires on this church and like stuff doesn't look gross enough. I was like, I want to tone that down a little.
Yeah, no, it turned out super well, I think. It's just so unique.
There's this poster behind us.
Yeah,
honestly, that's probably the weirdest part about like the reception to it, I guess, is like it feels weird that it's like something that I kind of worked out so fast in my head. At least it was like I feel like when you talk to like art directors and stuff and they try to explain like their vision for the game or something, it's always like this really long-winded explanation of like, well, here's the inspiration behind it, and we wanted to evoke all of this, all of this, and we was just like, I just wanted to use like 2 colors.
I don't know, I just did it.
Do as much art as possible. But yeah, everyone I've shown it to and every time we've shown it at like a show or something, people are like, wow, it's like the look of this is like really unique and really crazy. And
I think everyone's just so used to like how like say Uncharted's trying to make it hyper realistic almost.
Yeah.
Just trying to. And then this is just a nice 2-color thing. I don't know if I've seen any games with 2 colors other than old school games.
Well, that's the thing. It's like there's plenty of games that use like 2 colors or like 2 colors and an accent. When I was the reason I thought like 2 colors is because like a lot of games that were coming out around that time were also in my mind. Like Downwell was I think was had either just released or like was soon to come out, and like that. Not only does the black and white work super well with that game, but then it also has like a bunch of different color palettes that you can swap, so you can make it look like a Game Boy game or make it look like I don't know, like green and red or whatever. And every single one of those palettes, like I played through most of that game using like a completely different palette than the default one, just because I like the way it looked, and like it was like, oh okay, like there's totally something to like having. You can totally make something that looks really striking, just with like limited resources.
Yeah, I really like that. If you guys have any questions, by the way, feel free to throw them at us. I was just wondering, so when did you, I guess, start getting into game art in particular? Or were you always into
that's a weird one to explain, because like it's such a bummer of an answer, but like when I was in college, I was like freelancing for people who were in games, but they were like developers or like consultants and stuff like that. And one of the people I used, so like when I got into college, like I was basically like, I want to work in video games, but like that was as far as I pushed it. Like I didn't know where, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, obviously I knew I wanted to draw, but like, and one of the clients I'd worked with while doing freelancing stuff, he worked at Midway for a really long time.
Oh, okay.
And then he worked at Midway and then Capcom, I think, and then started his own company. And when he started his own company, he hired me to do some like just design work for his website. And I'd asked him, like on our last Skype call together, I was like, so you've been in the industry for a while, what's the one piece of advice you could give me? And he was like, I know you're gonna go into art, so just figure out what you want to do. Like pick a discipline, because you can't just go into like games and be like, I'm an artist.
Right.
Like it's more granular than that, right? It's like, do you do level design? Do you do like, are you like a texture artist? Are you a character modeler? Are you like a UI designer? Are you a concept artist?
Right.
Like, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I need to figure out what discipline I want to get good at. And like, as I went through college, I never really like focused one way. I just kind of liked doing everything. And then we had a project where we had to interview someone who worked in a position that we wanted to be in the future. So my team and I interviewed a 3D animator at IDOS, which I didn't want to do 3D, but he was still like in a general art position, and that was all we were able to get anyway. So, and he was talking about his job, and he described like, we were like, so what kind of loyalty do you feel to like your company or like the game that you're working on or whatever? And he was like, none.
None.
I was like, what? It's like, well, like that alone just like immediately betrayed every like preconception I had of like game developers. Like, I was like, that's what?
You're supposed to be loyal.
Yeah, and he was like, whatever. Like we bounce around between different companies. Like everyone who's worked at IDOS has worked at Ubisoft, has worked at EA, has worked at like THQ Montreal or whatever. It was like everyone bounces around because in like AAA, like big games, you can't attach yourself to a game because there are like 50 people above you who are going to come down and say this needs to change. Also, you can't say you have no say in this because it's like focus testing decided that this character needed to change. The like art director who is 5 steps above you has decided that this is no longer the case. The like creative director or whatever is like, actually I want this character to be a guy. It's like, well, that sucks. It's like there's so much work that gets thrown out the window just because people change their minds or like marketing decides that that's not the direction they want to go anymore. and that sucked. I hated hearing that. I was like, oh no, I don't want to work in games anymore. This is terrible. But like that happened to coincide with like indie games becoming way bigger of a thing. I was like, oh, there's actually like room for me to like have to be emotionally invested in the game I'm working in, to like have like my own voice in the games that I'm working in.
Right.
Fuck big games. I'm just gonna work in indie games, I guess. But then that's also like such a like weird thing of like, well, how do you get into indie games, right? It's like you just make your own, but that's like super hard and it takes time, and
it's a
like,
risk.
I was really lucky to just like basically like I tripped into a job like as I graduated college, and like that's led my way to being here. But that's it's kind of it's like like how did I get into games is like this horrible mix of like realizing that my dream job was actually terrible and then dumb luck.
You know, sometimes that happens. My dream job was a dentist at one point. So yeah, look, many truths came out and I was like, well, this isn't right for me. Yeah, we have questions like from Zandra. Was there a reason for never showing the character eyes, e.g. making them harder to read emotionally when trying to figure out who should be sacrificed?
The reason that much like every other asset in the game, the reason that I've hidden the character eyes initially was because it's kind of like, so the reason that when the police arrest someone and they're like, here's like unless they're being like shitty about it, they're like, oh, we've caught this person, but we don't want to reveal their identity for X reason. They just like censor the eyes. Yeah. It's because as humans, we're trained to look into the eyes of a person to like feel a human connection with them. Right. The moment that you don't have that, they might as well be faceless. That's because true. You can see that they have a face, you can see that they have features, but you can't see them as a person, basically, because like just on an emotional level, that's how we like recognize each other. So it's like a way to that's the technique that like basically we've been using for like centuries, I guess, to just like dehumanize people so that you can't like feel too bad about them. It's true. Yeah, when I was playing it, I was definitely a little bit disconnected from the characters. And it's purposely done so that like you can still like you don't, I guess, get too emotionally invested in the people, but also that you still like there's still enough of a person there that like you feel regret, I guess, because they have like personalities that the game is like showing through as you like uncover more and more about the people. But also like it was trying to mix that, and then also mix the ability to make as many portraits as quickly as possible. Where it was like, if I don't draw the eyes, then they don't look like a distinct person, which means we can reuse these assets multiple times, and it won't look like we're randomizing so much. I love it. It's just your art style is just a mix. Well, for the Shrouded Isle, it's just a mix of getting things done quickly, but also just ending up looking really polished at the same time. Yeah, I guess that's I don't know. That's a weird one to talk about, because everyone who like I hear it often of just like people saying like, how do you draw so fast? I'm like, oh. That's right, I don't draw eyes. Yeah, I don't draw eyes. It's one of those ways, I guess. I love it. Yeah, the Dark One says, in relation to when you were talking about the AAA companies, that's an interesting contrast to the recruitment media Blizzard puts out, where they emphasize the heck out of the prospective employee's passion. Yeah, that's super. It's super weird. Like, I think it varies from company to company. Like the thing with like really large scale, or the thing with the companies like IDOS or Ubisoft or whatever, is that the turnover there is also really quick. So like teams will rotate from project to project. Like you're never really spending time on, you're never investing that much time on a project, because like you could be working on Assassin's Creed X for however many months, and now all of a sudden you're on the new project, you're on the new Rainbow Six game or whatever. Like it's just, we need people here. You're going there because this is your position at the company. It's not like your position on the this game or whatever. But stuff like Blizzard and like other companies like Valve or whatever, it's you're really like more assigned to that team. It's like, oh, I'm on Overwatch now, and this is my thing on this project, and this is what I'm going to keep doing on this project. And like Valve is a bit different because like Valve has this like weird policy of just like push your desk wherever you want to work. It's like if you want to do UI for this game, you just bring your desk over to the UI lot, and that's what you're doing now. But like the company atmosphere is a bit different there, and that's what they want to encourage, I guess, largely because that's how that's just how the company culture works over there. Yeah. That's cool, and that has its own like share of problems, I guess. But like most companies, yeah, it's like that's not how it works. And like the reason that like someone like Blizzard can kind of get away with that of just like really reinforcing like company culture and stuff is because they have it, but they're also able to sustain that just from like making so much money.
So much money.
Which unfortunately isn't the case for most other like developers. But
yeah, I mean, it's a passion industry. There's a lot of love that goes into it from everyone who works in it, I feel.
There is, and I wish I didn't see it dwindle out of people so much as like time progressed, but like that's, I don't know, not like the other thing with indie games, right, is that like there's so much passion in all of it, but also it's like really hard.
It is.
It's not like we're rolling in money. Like, it's not the most lucrative thing in the world.
We just have a pile of money behind this poster. We don't know what to do with it. There's so much money.
That's true. I wipe my nose with it all the time. But yeah, like it's not lucrative. Like, you know, like most indie developers don't like have healthcare or anything. They don't have like a dental plan. Like all that stuff still has to come out of like pocket, or just not at all. And like the nice securities that you get from, you know, like working at a bigger company or whatever, like you don't have, but that's okay. That's not true. That's not okay.
It's not okay.
But it's the sacrifice that you make for like, you know, investing more of yourself in something.
Yeah.
I guess.
So I guess it's just a balance, or just figure out what is your needs, your passions, basically. But I mean, everyone starts somewhere, kind of like how I guess you just started off freelancing in college. Everyone starts somewhere. Do you have actually any advice for people who are looking into getting into the industry, whether it's being an artist or it's being in the industry?
I don't know. I feel bad giving advice because again, like I just kind of like stumbled into it. But like the best advice I can give is to just like, and it's super hard to do because I've struggled with it for a really long time. But like to just keep doing work. Like if you're an artist, just keep drawing. If you're like programming, just keep coding all the time. Just like make projects for yourself. Like accomplish things on your own terms, and then just like build a really awesome amount of shit that you can just like share with the internet and be like, look at this cool thing that I did, and like that attention might come immediately. It might come in like 5 or 6 years. It might come in 10, but it'll eventually come, right? If you like keep working at it. I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for just like constantly posting all the stuff I do onto like Twitter and other like sites or whatever, because that's how you get noticed. I guess.
Perseverance, a little bit of.
And it sucks because like as someone who struggled for a really long time and like sometimes still does, like hearing like, well, just keep at it is like not super like motivating, because it's not like the people hearing this aren't keeping at it.
Yeah.
But you know, like, what's the alternative is just, well, you stop and then nothing happens. So
it's true. You either go big or go home.
Yeah, just
but
keep
work-life balance too.
Keep helping. Keep doing what you do, and put that stuff out there so that people can see it. Because, like, you might not think that you might think that there isn't an audience out there who wants to see your stuff, but there is, and it just hasn't found its way to you yet.
But they will find you.
Yeah.
Sandra also asked, do you have any tips for easing the stress of putting a work out into the world and hoping people like it?
No, I don't, because I still stress out about that stuff like 24/7. It's man, that's yeah.
It's hard.
It's tough, and like there's a moment where I don't worry that like, oh no, this is the day everyone finds out that I'm actually terrible and that everything I do sucks. And I hope that day never comes. I live in constant fear that it will, but like.
But again, it's all part of it. It's all part of just, I guess. I think perseverance is part of the fact that you have to put yourself out there in order to be found, and for, I guess, anyone to judge you, yes, online.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, like, there's nothing that's never going to make it like not stressful. It's just like, it's just a matter of being really happy with the work that you put out, because ultimately, like, nothing is ever going to take the stress away. It's just trying to find something to like balance it out. And like some days it's going to be really easy to do that. Some days it's going to be really difficult, and some days you're just going to be like, I need to step away from all of this and go play video games for a while, or like go take a bunch of walks, or like watch movies or something. But like, you know, whatever it is, to not make that like the super stressful stuff just overtake like the good things that come out of it.
Yeah, for sure. We'll probably wrap up pretty soon because we don't want to take up too much of your time. But if you guys have any last minute questions, feel free to throw them in. If not, we'll bring Erica back for a live drawing session one day.
Yeah.
And that'll be super fun. But yeah, thank you for coming all the way here, by the way, to eat a really terrible jelly bean. I felt so bad when I gave you like one of the worst tasting ones. I'm sorry.
It wasn't even like, well, I mean, no, it was the taste, but then it was also like it stuck to my teeth, and just the taste wouldn't go away. It was,
yeah. But I think you had like one of the worst ones. When I was taste testing them, I was like, oh, this one is like pungent. It's pungent. It's strong.
It was not good. I'm gonna go stop by a Torrance or something and just get something to wash this taste out of my mouth.
If you like good jelly beans, I can give you a good jelly bean right now.
I don't like jelly beans at all.
Well,
that's the even worse part.
No, well, it's just a double whammy for you then. Just chug like something from Torrance.
I agree to this.
Yeah, you did agree to this, so.
I did it to myself.
Yeah, this is self-inflicted jelly bean pain.
Yeah.
Alright, well, you guys don't have any more questions. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you again for coming here. We'll be, oh, wait. New jelly bean flavored Nintendo Switch cartridge.
No, I'm good.
Oh.
I'm good. I still haven't tasted those.
You shouldn't. I mean, I haven't, but the whole point of that is that you're not supposed to put them in your mouth, you guys.
Yeah, I almost did, but like I don't want to do that to my Switch cartridges.
No, yeah, wait, yeah. Why would you do that to your Switch cartridge? Oh, okay. I'm thinking too much about it now. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Keep an eye out on our social media. Facebook.com/KitfoxGames or Twitter.com/KitfoxGames, and Erica at Twitter at AuraHack, AuraHack. Right? Thanks, you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.